You can open the gas door on your Hyundai Elantra, and it doesn't have a manual gas release in the front or in the trunk. Well, let me show you how to fix it. When working, this bar should pop out and in as the car is locked or unlocked, and keep the gas door closed by sliding into this passage. But mine is stuck in the locked position, making it so I can't open this door. To open this in an emergency situation, you can put some tape around on the paint and use a plastic pry tool so that you can very carefully wedge a pick in to push that bar back into place. It's not easy, and I'll show you later in the video how to do this manually without potentially scratching your paint or damaging something else. To replace this actuator is very easy, and you don't even need that many tools. All you need is a socket or a socket driver, 10mm socket, trim removal tool, a screwdriver, Phillips head, and a plastic little trim tool, and that's it. Optional things but are helpful: a work light, if you want to get fancy and make sure it's not an electrical rather than a mechanical issue, a multimeter, and if you break any of those stubborn clips, a little plastic fastener kit is also helpful. Everything will be linked below. Check it out. Let's get this thing repaired. Pop the trunk, and we'll need to clear out all this crap. Next, we need to remove this trunk cover. Yours might have some compartments, but mine doesn't. Hashtag base model. And you just lift this up and out. And for ease of working, I like to remove this hatch cover. So just remove the strings, and then diagonal, straight out. Getting a little ahead of myself, but just so you guys know what the heck I'm trying to do, behind here is the fuel actuator that we need to replace. So to do that, you need to pull all this trim off. It's not hard at all. I'll show you some tools that I use to get the job done, but you don't want to mess any of this trim up, because obviously by doing it yourself, you want to do it right and save money. Next, I personally, because we're going to need to remove this portion of the trim, it's kind of hard to finagle it out without creasing this, and I've creased this before, and I personally don't want to do that, and this is easy enough to pull out. So we're going to pull off this cover right here, and there's 1, 2, 3 plastic retaining clips that we need to remove. So a couple ways to do this. If yours are protruding like mine are, super easy, just pop it out. These trim tools are great, but for these that are a little bit more recessed, what you can do is stick your trim tool underneath, and that should get you at least enough to pop it out a bit, and then send her home the rest of the way. And this, give it a good pull. My pull was so strong I stopped recording, but yeah, give it a good pull up, just straight towards you. Boom. You can just pull this weather stripping up away from the car. That way you can get easier access to these clips, which honestly, if they're loose enough, you can pull out, or just use your trim tool to put it under and pop that clip like that. Sorry about the lighting, I picked the worst time of day to film. So then we'll come under here, use a plastic trim tool, otherwise you'll mar it up with like a screwdriver. I know it's tempting, but these are so cheap. Boom. And these will expose 10mm fasteners like that. I'm just using a nut driver. Then just push that seat out of the way, and that should make it so that you can just pull this straight out. Now before you start pulling things, there is the wire back here for the trunk light, so we'll just want to pull that out like that. And at the base there's a Phillips screw that we'll need to take out. Now we should be able to just kind of wiggle this cover out over these D-rings on the bottom. And honestly, this is enough to work, I think. You can pull it all the way out, but hey, less work is better. There we are. There's the actuator. There's only 2 bolts, or I guess nuts, that hold it on, and there's this electrical connection that we can pull off. If you want to test here, there's 2 points for positive and ground. That way you can see if you're actually getting power to it. And once you verified that, really the only thing that could be wrong is the motor. Now we'll get these two mounting nuts off, 10 millimeter. Next, pull this cable out like that. Just pull it straight out of this right here. And we should be able to twist this out like that. And there's your cable released. You want to know how simple this mechanism is? Literally that motor just pushes and pulls this cable. I kid you not, that's all its job is. Here's the part number. I'll list it in the description box below. It's a little pricey, so that's why I like to make sure it actually is a problem before I spend 80 bucks on a new part. This pointy end goes in first, like that. And then it should lock in. Once it's in, go ahead and just push that and lock it into place. Push this connector in. Okay, power. Let's test it. Now we can start closing things up. I'm gonna put this wiring harness on first. Now we can push this all back into place. Start with our Phillips screw here on the bottom. Then we can put this trim on the top, which just slides in. And then close it up. Now to put these plastic retaining clips in. And if you need more, I'll put a link below where you can just buy a kit. Super cheap. Pull our seat back. Now we'll put this cover back on. You can see there's these white clips on the top, which is what I was referring to when you needed to pull up. So we'll just put those in first. And there are these corresponding holes. And hit it down. Should lock in like that. And now we can go in and put the 3 plastic retaining caps in. 3. Let's put the cover back in. And add the hatchback cover. Put those loops back on. I hope this video helped you save a couple hundred by doing it yourself. Questions or comments, please leave them below. I publish how-to videos weekly, so feel free to subscribe.